Railway. On this side is the end of Weihe Tunnel, and looking to the right, you will see that on this hill, this is the exit of the tunnel. And we actually want you to look at the intercourse of the two tunnels. The reason why we are having a live streaming here is because we want you to see this image. Within the Weihe tunnel, Weihe is one of the biggest branches of the Yellow River, and this tunnel is under this river. So the water flow is sufficient, and with a very serious leakage to the underground water. If you don't clear out the water from the tunnel in time, then it will affect the operation of the high-speed train. So today the workers are working on this part. So this is a very intricate system. Every post is linked to one another. So this illustration describes how this river goes through this part. So this is a tunnel on the river. So this is actually the river, and this slope is very steep. It's about 0.5%. Let's look at the board. Right now we are just looking at the above ground part, but later on we're going under the shaft. This is their work briefing session before they start work underground. You might have a question, what is this for? Can it be higher or lower? Why at this exact height? So this height is calculated according to the average flooding in this area. So it has to be a little bit higher than the peak depths of a flood. Let's test the lights, because underground is going to be very dark. So is it working? Great. So we need this headlight. So we'll go down to the shaft with the workers, and of course we had a training before going underground, and no one can go under without permission. This is Mr. Cui, our technician. So today we have many technical questions, and we need Mr. Cui's help. Shall we? Why a vertical shaft of 57 meters is needed here? One reason is for drawing water out of the tunnel. This is my first time going under such a deep shaft. As we go under, will be darker. What are those tools for? Meters and some tools for measurement. Be careful. As we go deeper, the temperature is going to drop. Yes. Can you hear this? Okay. Let me point the microphone this way. Can you hear the echoes? You can hear the echoes and trains actually. So this is also a feature for working underground. I think our audience may have another question. So I think there's a window time for maintenance, for example. at night from 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. Usually maintenance work is done under those time. So why are you working in daytime? As you see in the chart on the board, so this area is actually in parallel with the railway, so it doesn't affect the railway's operation. Let's see, this is a mark for 10 meters. Now we have gone down 10 meters from the ground. Be careful. Let's continue. So, it's very clear that right now we need the lights. Much darker than the ground. So today we have a Labor Day special feature. We're going on the vertical shaft of the high-speed railway. This shaft is 57 meters deep. It's one of the deepest shafts, not just in Baoji-Lanzhou Highway, a high-speed railway, but all across China. Why this shaft is needed? One reason, as we mentioned before, this shaft is in parallel with the Weihe Tunnel. Weihe Tunnel is going under the Weihe River, and Weihe River is one of the branches of the Yellow River. If we do not pump water out from the tunnel timely, then it will affect the normal operation of the high-speed train. So today we're trying to guarantee the power supply to the machines underground. As we go down, it's becoming darker. Now we need the headlights more than ever. Now 20-meter mark. We're 20 meters deep underground. So 57 meters. How tall is that if it's a building? So there are about 300 steps, 19 floor building. Sometimes we have to go up and down 17 times a day or more than that.
做更充分的准备。说实在的，下楼的时候，我其实并不觉得说有多么的困难，但是上楼的时候就明显的觉得体力不支。
Yesterday I went down once, and when I go down, I don't feel tiring, but when I go up, it's much more tiring.
我觉得这。
要是跟吊顶上的话，还要照跑上去。
没错，没错。啊，好，我们。
You're right.
其实我到的是一个特别真实的情况，有的时候呢，这个井底的小跑下去检修手机来跟大家进行直播。那走到这个来，往下走。
So I'll use my phone to live stream.
用了，哎，那走到这个井下之后呢，因为手机信号比较弱， 也是在这个地方的一个特殊性吧。好了，我们小跑2步。好，好的。
So right now my phone signal is very weak.
这会儿如果正在录，要是有画面抖动，也请谅解。
Because we're quite deep underground
看
now.
我的这个左手边来，小伙伴，你给一下。现在就是可以看到井底情况了。
So if you see some frozen images, please bear with me. Now we can see the bottom of the shaft.
比较深嘛，比较黑，所以要把它照亮。那另外一个作用呢，就是在我们检修设备的时候，可以有一束强光对准着我们这个设备，又更便于检修。
So now it's very dark. This light is for lighting, and also when we are maintaining and fixing, repairing the equipment, this headlights also comes handy. Right, we need this headlights for our work. As you can see, there's water on the floor. Where does the water come from? So this water comes from underground. The leakage is very common, and in winter, it's sometimes frozen. Right now, in July to September, during the rain season, the leakage will be more. That's why all the water needs to be drained very quickly. If without any pumping system, then in 2 to 3 days, the whole railway will be underwater. As you can see here, plenty of water. Can you see this? And wait, listen. The train's going through. So right now we're very close to the railway, about 10 meters. We're 10 meters to the railway line, and thank you. When the high-speed train goes through, you can feel the wind. So usually, every 10 minutes, we'll have a train going through. I feel really cold here. I think the maximum temperature difference can be 20 degrees between above the ground and underground. As you can see, I'm actually wearing a quite thick coat here. In order to maintain a good environment for the equipment, the temperature needs to be low enough. Today, I think the temperature above ground is about 20-something degrees, but now I feel like underground it might be 7 to 8 degrees here. So the temperature difference between winter and summer is even bigger. They told me that in summer, above ground is very hot, 30 degrees, and under is still 7 to 8 degrees. Well, let's follow them. Are you about to start work? Yeah, we're doing some observation work. Let's look at their tools. This is our power supply. So before we go underground, we have to test the presence of a hazardous gas. Slow down. This is for blowing the dust away. This is lights, headlights. This is the thermal detector. Yes, where's the dust come from? Yes, we have to clear the dust on the equipment and on the network. So if you don't clean the dust in time, what would happen? So sometimes it will block the equipment and the temperature would rise. When the temperature reaches certain extent, then we'll receive some alert and will affect the operation of equipment. So let's go back to the previous topic. You can see there's a B written on the gate. And look this way. A. So this is gate A and gate B. Looks between A and B. So the first reason for the shaft is for pumping water out. And the second reason, why there are two different gates, gate 1, A and B. So in the case of emergency, then the workers can evacuate through gate A and gate B, and then we will go up ground from here. If in the event of any accident, okay, look here. So this is the evacuation channel, and as you can see, the firefighting equipment's here. So in the event of malfunction of equipment or natural disasters, we'll evacuate from here. Can you open the door from here? No, you can only open the door from outside. So the passengers will come through this gate. Yes, we cannot go from here, so this gate only opens one way. It's designed deliberately this way. No one is allowed to go into the high-speed train. This is also for ventilation. So this is quite a long tunnel. So when there's some hazardous gases, we have to make sure there's enough ventilation. So we have 6 pairs of fans, drought fans like this here. Yeah, when we take the high-speed train, we never thought about there's so much detail, so much design go behind the high-speed train. So every part will not be possible without the workers. As you can see, our colleague is testing the gas. So the test of hazardous gas presence, why is needed? So if there's any leakage from the gases, then it will have to make sure the result is still green. So once, if the inflatable devices has any leakage, then it will be no longer green. So, yes, we have 2 equipments testing the gas. There's another side. Right. Please continue. So every unit, every transformer is very well arranged. Every unit, every transmission and every transformer is tested. Yes. So right now you can hear the fan is on. The ventilation system is at work. Yes, we can hear the wind blowing. Yeah, let's put the mic here so that the audience can hear too. So this is ventilation at work. So this is for clearing out all possible gases. As you can see, this is for air exhaustion, discharging the air out. So you can see the space is very confined, so only 7 people are working here. They work in a group of 7. So what you're doing right now, we're testing the temperature here.
这是一个红外线的测温。
红外线测温，红外测温仪。
现在是显示多少度
？17.5度，符合运行标准。
咱们这个警戒的度数是多少
？80度。
So right now is 7.5 Celsius degree.
哎，我还有一个疑问，你看咱们这边有各种各样的小零件啊，这个跟其他的设备不一样，零件非常的小。那在这个检测过程当中呢，我们也不能。
So the alert will be triggered at 85 degrees. So there are many different parts, many small parts. During the testing, you cannot use your hand to touch the parts. So this infrared thermometer can test the parts as well. Now through testing the temperature, we know whether there's any losing part, because once the parts are in the wrong place, the temperature will rise. Okay. So we don't have to use screwdrivers to examine whether the parts are in place. Yes, everything needs to be maintained in the same position, and we cannot just touch it. So this is the team leader for this operation. So now got it. You need to use the infrared rate thermometer. Can you hear that? Another train coming through. So once any part is losing, then the temperature will go up. So you can use the temperature to judge if everything is all right. Right. If the alarm is triggered, then we will go down and to repair it. So this is a very important, temperature is a very important indicator. So let's wait. When they're done, we can continue. So all equipments are not working in isolation. All equipments are linked. So their ground cable is quite important. So all workers are now examining the equipments they're in charge of, and once the testing is complete, they would shout so that everyone can hear them. Now we're testing the grounding barometers. So when we walk down the stairs, we feel this is quite a spacious shaft, but when they're operating, they need to go into very confined spaces, into different corners to do their work. Now they're testing the resistance. Apologize for the shaking. Our cameraman is walking up, and I noticed there's something here, a hook here. So I want you to guess, what is this for? What is this for? So this is for.
您们现在所看到的这个设备是整个
not gonna tell you now.
当中最核心的地方，也就是相当于我们的大脑。
0.018。
So what you're looking at here is the central part of all equipment. It's like the brain of the whole system. So the testing procedure is very strict. Mr. Xu, how old are you? 30. So we have been working. So I was working for the power supply system before, and now. Could you explain more about this post? So this shaft is only in operation after the high-speed railway is in operation. So this is your first Labor Day in the station. So yes, this is quite special. So usually, do you take high-speed train? Yes, of course, all the time. I guess your experience is different from the ordinary passengers like us. Well, very proud. I'm very proud. If anyone asks me about the high-speed train, then I can tell them. I can explain each post, what each post is for. I can tell them where are we going through. I can tell them a lot. So you're quite proud of it. Yes. Most passengers did not know your existence. So we only know that maybe from 12 to 4 a.m. workers may do maintenance and check the high-speed railway, but they don't know that there are people working here in the shaft. What do you see this? So, well, as a high-speed train worker, as long as passengers are happy and they can travel smoothly during the Labor Day holiday, then I'm happy. This is my job. I'm quite proud of it. I think Mr. Xu is very excited to answer this question. Although their posts are not known, their roles are not known to everybody, but as long as they can do their job, do their part, and fulfill their responsibility, and they feel very grounded and very proud. Yes, when I see the passengers boarding the train, getting off the train, or feeling happy about high-speed railway, then I feel my energy, my work is meaningful and everything is not in vain. Now we are close to Tianshuinan Station in a vertical shaft that is 57 meters, one of the deepest shafts, not just in Baoji-Lanzhou High-speed Railway, but also across China. And because the tunnel is under the Weishui River, and this is actually the steepest slope in China. So yes, probably the top one. And earlier, we explained why this 57-meter deep shaft is needed. One reason is because Weihe River, Weihe Tunnel going under the Weihe River, and in this season, we have heavy rains, especially in June and July. So, without any manual pumping or water draining, then the water will slowly submerge the high-speed train. So this shaft is also for evacuation. In the event of any accidents, the high-speed train passengers can go through Gate A and Gate B and escape from here. And the third function of the shaft is for ventilation. We saw the fan A and fan B working there earlier. So in total, there are 6 fans in total. So what's this area for? So this is a shaft for cables. So all the high voltage and low voltage cables come from here to the equipment. So this shaft are usually for 2 people to go through. So before we started today's live streaming, we talked to many officers and administration. They only allow us to go down maybe for 2 minutes and we have to come up. Be careful. Right.
哦，6米长，2米多宽，这是一个长方形，在这里有很多这种黑色的粗细不等的。
这就是高低压电了。
高低压哪种是高压电了？
后面的那是高压，
这个是高压。
这是低压。
前面是
像这种小一点的这种就是低压。
低压。
对。
这个是。
不能触摸。
不能触摸。那这里其实作业的环境是相对来说非常狭窄的。基本上我这个1.68米的身高，我觉得我已经完全蜷缩在一起了。
对。
但是还是觉得，你看抬头都得从侧面这样抬头，非常麻烦。那平时你们在这儿也得趴着这样作业。趴着，
对，把所有的一遍，看看有没有什么问题。他如果有什么不合适的地方，我们都尽快的停电处理。
对。那这些电缆通到哪里去呢？
就是咱们刚才看的，我们刚才用那个一侧的那些开关上面，开关的端子上面经常高压直接。您慢点。
好嘞。没事，没关系，我
注意安全啊。
来，我的这个没事，我的小伙伴拉我。
好，慢点。
没关系。哎呀，好吧。其实你看，我自己亲自下去感觉的，自己的体会就是，可能从这个竖井上下来的时候，就是感觉黑，然后第一反应看到这个变电箱，觉得哎呀也不是特别大，工作难度到底有多大呢？其实仔细一看会发现，工人会在他的每一个角落，钻到每一个区域去检测，所以真的是每个岗位都非常的不容易。这个时候我要来给大家揭晓一下，这个绿色的杆是做什么用的？大家看到这有一行字叫“关门前请先抬起防风拉杆”，是为什么？就是当这个门打开的时候，你不会用担心这个门会自动合上，因为它这儿，所以它不会在没有外力作用的上。那为什么有这个杆呢？师傅告诉我说，有些人身高比较矮，有些人个高，可以把它这么抬起来。那如果遇到比较个子矮一点的师傅的话，就需要有这个像晾衣杆一样的东西把它撑起来才能把这个门关上。这个环节就算告一段落了哈。
All right. Is Mr. Cui over there? Here you are. So let's take this way.
其实我还想给大家说一个我的体会，就是我刚戴上安全帽的时候，大家可能觉得安全帽
And just to share with you my experience when I wear the safety hat, this helmet. Probably you don't think this is important, but when I add a headlight on the safety helmet, I feel it's much heavier. And I feel actually it's very uncomfortable to wear this. So their equipment, their devices, and their helmet. So they all add to the burden. So through this very small detail, we can experience how hard is their work. So right now it's 20. Humidity is 80 something. So if it reaches 40 degrees, then the fan will be turned on automatically. And if it reaches the humidity it reaches 98, then we'll start to turn the dryer on. So do you know what this pipe is for? This big pipe. It comes from the other side of the wall. So this pipe is for water drainage. So the water will go out from this big pipe. Can you see how big it is? Right, this is the beginning of the pipe. So you can see this pipe comes from the other side of the wall. Authority to give us permission to enter this part. Let's see how the water is pumped out. Oh, let's just stop here. This is enough. Can you hear this? Yes, we need to pump the water at least once a day, and every time it takes 2 to 3 hours in order to pump all the water. Right, so the water comes from the river and the tunnel. So in the beginning, we already told you that the leakage is quite serious. So you can see every day they have to do at least one pumping. Yeah, so this is a pool for water, right? This is for water storage. It's a water sump. Okay, interesting. So we're standing above a 10-meter deep water sump. So right now where we're standing above a 10-meter deep water sump. You can see here the water coming from the Weihe River. So inside there are two water pumps. Each is 55 kilowatt. We have a sensor installed there. If the sensor is broken, then we will check the equipment manually. When I first came down here, I have a question. I know that right now we have automatic equipment, all kinds of. You actually have all kinds of sensors and also videos. So besides those automatic systems, those equipment, sure it's 100% safe. Besides those sensors, we also check the equipment. So you have to make sure the water that will not submerge the railway. Otherwise, thousands of passengers will not be able to travel through high-speed train. I can see this door right in front of us. Go through here, then right, there's 3 doors. So this is the main line for the high-speed train. So this is actually the closest location to the high-speed train. Yes, usually people cannot come down here. So you can see the importance of this shaft. It's very close to the high-speed train. Be careful. Yes. Remember the water sump we saw? The pipe-linked water sump and goes through here. When the high-speed train comes through, we can hear huge noises. And earlier we said the railway is only 10 meters away. So when the train goes through, you can feel the wind and the noises. Right. Watch out for your head. So this is a very special feature today. We are live streamed from a very deep shaft, and we're using our 4G our 4G signal to live stream, and right now signal here is not very strong, and that's why sometimes we have some shakings, and now we're using satellite signal. So today sometimes our videos may get stuck, may freeze, so please bear with us. We have two pairs of equipment for live stream here. One is the phone, one is the satellite. So where we are right now is only 10 meters away from the railway. This is the deepest shaft, vertical shaft in this area, but also across China. And let's go back to the reasons why we have this shaft. First, the Baoji-Lanzhou High-speed Railway go under the Weihe River, and we go through the Weihe Tunnel. Weihe Tunnel is right under the Weihe River, and Weihe River is one of the biggest branches of Yellow River, and in the rainy season, water leakage from the river is quite serious here. If we don't pump the water out in 2 to 3 days, then the water may submerge the railway. So all these equipments here are for the operation of water pumping equipment. And the second reason for setting up this shaft is for ventilation. The tunnel is about 10 kilometers long. We have to make sure to clear out all the gases, and we have 6 fans under. And let's look at the gate A and gate B again. These two gates look like an arm embracing the equipment in the shape of an arm. So in the event of emergency, passengers can escape from the train and evacuate through gate A and gate B to come here. Those two gates cannot be opened through here, can be only opened from outside. So this is the only evacuation channel. So this shaft is built for this exact purpose. And coming down here, I really feel cold. It's humid, chilling, and you can see some water here. And in winter, a very thin layer of ice, and that's why I'm wearing a very thick jacket. But going up, you can wear shirts. So the maximum temperature difference can be 20 degrees large. So sometimes when they go up, they wear t-shirts, and coming down, they have to wear a cotton padded coat. Let's see if anyone is done with their work so that we can have a chat. Hi, is there anyone free right now? Can I talk to you for now? How long have I been working here? I'm working as an electrical worker, 20 years. If you don't mind, I'll turn off your lights. So in the past 20 years, how do you like the post right now? I feel very proud. Why? Through our efforts, we are safeguarding the high-speed train. So when you just started, did you expected a high-speed train built right in front of your hometown? So in the past, it took me 4 hours to travel through where I work and my home. And with high-speed train, now the travel time is reduced greatly. When I was working in Lanxi, and I was very familiar with the high-speed train, so that's why I was transferred here to work. And also, I received some on-the-job training. I'm very familiar with how high-speed train works. So, although our work is hard, but seeing passengers travel through high-speed train because of us, because of our efforts, I feel very grounded and proud. Today is May 1st, Labor Day. But everyone of here us here do not have any holidays. We're still working. Yes, for your post, you don't have any holidays or vacation. Yes, we have different shifts. We don't get holidays. We have to be here all the time. Have to be here in case of any problems. If any problems, issues occur, then we have to fix it as soon as possible. And also we have to keep a log, recording everything happened in a day. So that's why we think this post is quite special. And it's also my honor to do a report, a coverage on your story. So this is their first Labor Day, because this post was only established since the operation of this Baoji-Lanzhou High-speed Railway. And so what's the average age of all workers? Around 30. They're all quite young. Yeah, but we're very proud to work on the high-speed train. And especially when we hear friends and family tell us that they're happy with the shortened travel time. Can you hear this? Look. Very strong wind. So from this you can see how fast the train travels. We are already about 20 meters away from the train, and you can still feel very strong wind. So while working environment is very cold and humid, but we don't feel it's too cold. We actually feel very passionate about our work. Right. So for people who grow up in the northwestern China, the operation of the train is great news. It really shortened the travel time by 1.5 hours. It also brings the northwestern region closer to the eastern and other regions of China. So for local people, for people who grew up here like me, we're very happy. Now it takes much shorter to travel to Beijing and Shanghai. And I heard that on February 19th, Fuxing train goes through this railway. So this is for the first time as well. So we actually see right now high-speed train is flourishing, and the prosperity of northwestern China. Well, if you don't mind, I want to ask you one question. Who's the youngest among you all? How old are you? I'm 24. Very young. Is it your first job? Yes. So, how do you like this job? What do you tell your parents about this? Well, so when I see passengers travel with a smile when they get off the train, I feel very, very happy and proud. So because I should make some contribution here. And I actually interviewed many people working on the high-speed train, and some young men told me that they are very grateful for high-speed train, because in the past, when their girlfriends are living very far from them, they waste a lot of time on the road. But with high-speed train, it's much faster, and their mother-in-law is even happier. So do you hear stories like that? Right, since the operation of Baolan Railway, it takes a much shorter time to go home, and we can see our family much faster. Yeah, it's very easy to travel between two places. So home is no longer a distant place. How often do you go home? Actually, once a month. it's already, for us, it seems it's not enough. Where do you live? I live in Shanxi province, about 1 hour away from here. So 1 hour, very quick. Without the high-speed train, how long will it take you to go home? Well, usually takes 6 to 7 hours. One way or both ways? One way. So only one way takes 6 to 7 hours. So you probably cannot travel cannot make a round trip within a day, right? So actually, even the weekend is not enough. Yes, it's very tight. Right now it's much easier. So happiness, satisfactions are not that far around, are not that far-fetched. When the workers are repairing the transmission boxes, are fixing transformers, every one of the worker feels the convenience brought by high-speed train. So do your parents ask you about or urge you to get a girlfriend? No, not yet. Or do they ask you to bring your girlfriend home? Yes, sometimes they ask me. So you can see this young man's quite shy but very optimistic. So we have people who are veteran with 20 years of experience and also very young newcomer. So the passengers probably never know how many workers are working behind the high-speed railway. But as long as the passengers are happy and can travel to meet their families through high-speed train, this is already good enough for most workers. So today is Labor Day, May 1st. I'm also quite happy to be here because this is the first Labor Day for the workers here since they took the post.
我的老婆，爸爸妈妈，我非常爱你们。我的孩子。
Well, I like to hand my mic to each and every one of you. Do you want to say something to your family?
我非常的骄傲。
I want to say this to my wife, to my parents. I love you.
工作者的支持吧。我们在这经常回不了家，家里的所有的事情，大小事情都是由老婆呀啥的兄弟姐妹互相来那啥。再次感谢。
I would like to thank my family for their support.
其实我很感谢你们。我在这方面
Sometimes we cannot go home, and my wife has to shoulder everything around the family. So I actually want to say this to my parents. I'm very grateful for you. So I cannot work here without your support. Thank you. I want to thank my wife and my parents. You are the great support that I needed for working here, and I'm working here to safeguard the safety of high-speed train. I like to thank my parents. Thank you for support, supporting me to work here. And I'd like to thank my parents and all my family. I would like to thank my family for their support, although I don't go home often. And also here, I like to say sorry to you. I'm sorry. But in order to serve all the passengers, I need to do my part here. So, one more here. I would like to thank my family for supporting me. I'm very, very grateful. So, everyone only said use the most plain language, but I know that this is very emotional for them. And I know that sometimes you have to do several shifts in a row and you cannot go home. Sometimes you have to work at night. Sometimes they have to work in nighttime and sleep in daytime, but no one complains about this. But their happiness is very simple, is to see the happiness of passengers and to get together with their family. So every safe trip for all the passengers has a lot to do with the hard work of the workers. That's why we have gone down to such a deep vertical shaft. Let's look up. We are at the bottom of a 57-meter deep shaft. And to see this newest, the youngest post on the railway. They were only established since the operation of Baoji-Lanzhou Railway. And there are only 7 of them, but they are necessary for the safety operation of high-speed train. Just as President Xi said, all posts are glorious, all posts are important.